Welcome back into Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trades. I'm your host, Trades, as we're coming back in here for hour number 2 of the show here tonight. I hope you guys are enjoying your Wednesday so far here. And this next segment of the show here, Kyle's stopping by. We're going to talk a little bit of World Baseball Classic. We're going to talk a little NFL. This next segment is brought to you by JBC Screen Printing and Embroidery. They take pride in their work because your image is their business. Check them out there, JBC Screen Printing and Embroidery. So Kyle is here tonight. Kyle, how we doing on this Wednesday?
Oh, I'm good. It seems like it's a slower time, but World Baseball Classic, got free agency, got NFL draft coming down the line. So in terms of like action, it seems like it's slow, but still plenty to watch though. It's crazy.
If you want games or like actual games, it's a slow time. If you like the outside stuff and like preparing for the season and all that kind of stuff, it's your time of year. It's definitely your time of year right now. So Kyle, as always, we have to hit our favorite portion of the show here, and that is the Mellow Yellow Minute, the trivia portion of the hour. In our trivia portion of the show, in honor of my grandpa, he loved trivia. He loved Mellow Yellow. We call it the Mellow Yellow Minute. So Kyle has 1 minute to list off. And we have been doing the top 5 sports in different countries. And this week, we are traveling to Argentina, where we will be doing the top 5 sports in Argentina. So Kyle loves to list them off 5 to 1. So I'm gonna name the 5 sports in no particular order, and Kyle's gonna guess them 5 to 1 here. So we have basketball, tennis, field hockey, soccer, and rugby. So Kyle, 1 minute on the clock starting right now. What do you got for me 5 to 1?
Okay. So I feel like normally you got to think of big athletes. So I feel like I know number 1. I feel like I always know number 1. 5, got to be field hockey.
5 is not field hockey. 5 is not field hockey. It's in the ballpark though. It's in the ballpark.
Is it rugby?
It is not rugby. Rugby is going to surprise you. Rugby is going to surprise you on this list.
It's got to be tennis then. I know it's not.
It is tennis.
Yeah.
That was in the realm. See, it's hitting a ball with a stick. So I figured, that's in the realm of field hockey. And, I don't know. I'm just the host here. So anyways, tennis comes in at number 5. We have basketball, field hockey, rugby, and soccer left on the board.
So then based off of that, 4 has got to be field hockey.
It is field hockey. Field hockey comes in at number 4. So we have rugby, basketball, and football left, soccer left on the board.
3. Is it rugby?
It is not rugby.
So 3's got to be basketball.
It is basketball at number 3. So you're down to 2 spots there, Kyle. We're down to 10 seconds, Kyle. What do you got for me? 2 and 1, rugby or soccer?
Rugby has to be 2 because soccer is absolutely 1.
There you go. There we go. You got it. 1 second before the clock dings. Kyle gets it. 5 to 1. We have tennis, field hockey, basketball, rugby, and soccer. Other sports in Argentina, notable mentions on the list. Polo, pato. I don't even know. It's some high-speed game played on horseback. That's all I know. And volleyball doesn't fit in at all with the pato and polo, but it's in there. It's definitely. What is pato? A game played on horseback that combines elements from polo and basketball. There we go. We have our homework. Figure out what pato is and go play it. I got some horses, Kyle. We'll play it in the backyard. I don't know if I got a room.
The Ocho needs to get on it.
That's what I'm saying. I haven't seen this game on the Ocho. So I saw a game the other day I was watching. It was on ESPN, the Ocho. It's like roof ball, where you throw the ball up on the roof and you watch. And I'm like, I remember throwing a ball up on a roof as a kid, but this is an actual sport that they play for points, and it's wild, some of the things that you see out there. There was pinball on the Ocho the other day. There's too many kickball. I've watched kickball on there before. It gets wild when you watch ESPN the Ocho. I'd recommend it because you see a lot of things that you're like, I played that as a kid, and now there's adults playing it for sport. So yeah, it's definitely wild there. So Kyle, we got to talk about the World Baseball Classic coming up here. We got games coming up tonight as we're talking. There's one game happening tonight, and then we have some games starting up tomorrow. The USA's team will play on Friday there. So Kyle, just talking about the World Baseball Classic, any teams that are sticking out to you right now? Any rosters that stick out to you?
Well, I think obviously you got to go U.S. You have Judge, Cal Raleigh, got Skeens, Skubal. Their whole roster obviously is well known. So they're obviously a roster to watch. I like Dominican Republic as well. They're another team loaded with MLB stars. They like this. This is their passionate sport. This is their livelihood. So they're going to show out well. Third, I like Venezuela. I know a lot of people like Japan because of Shohei. Got to remember, Shohei's not pitching. I think Venezuela has a team that, they may not have the highlight worthy like 400-foot home runs or anything like that. They just have ball players like Churio and guys like that who are on there. I think they can, give you headaches on the base paths. I think they're a team to watch. Like I said, Japan, and then a sneaky team, the Netherlands, lineup wise, all recognizable names, and they are usually really good middle infielders. And once again, they're loaded there. So I think those are teams to watch come the start of the World Baseball Classic.
I like it. I have no complaints with that list right there. There's a lot of good teams heading into this one. You talked about middle infields. It's the U.S. team's middle infield with Bryce Terang and Bobby Witt. That is a lot of ground that's going to be covered between those two guys. Oh, man. Like, just thinking about Bryce Terang being paired up with Bobby Witt Jr. I mean, you look at Bryce Terang with Joey Ortiz. That's a lot of ground being covered. Now you have a guy like Bobby Witt next to him. That's a lot of ground being covered right there. So I can't wait to watch that middle infield for the U.S. If they play it smart, I know you have Gunnar Henderson on that bench. Who else was the other? There's another infielder that I'm thinking of because Bregman's most likely going to be in there. You're going to have Bryce Harper at first base. I'm thinking there's Gunnar Henderson's in that infield, and there's somebody else who's in that infield for Team USA. And I can't, off the top of my head, I'm trying to think of who the heck it is, but I can't remember. Oh, man, it's Gunnar Henderson, Bobby Witt, Bryce Terang. There's another guy who I thought could kind of fit into the fold of that middle infield. Oh, that's going to bite. That's going to bite. Ernie Clement. Ernie Clement's also in there. So you have another guy who can kind of go around that infield there. But I think you have to go because middle infield wins games. And that's going to be Bryce Terang and Bobby Witt Jr. So if they do it right, if they play it right, those two will be the starting middle infield for Team USA here in the World Baseball Classic. So I'm excited. Friday night, got that coming up there. Bryce Terang, I believe, had a hit there they played the Giants in their exhibition game. And Bryce Terang had a hit in there. I think Aaron Judge. Who hit the home run? Alex Bregman had a home run in that game there. Aaron Judge, when I had last look, was 2 for 2. So, I mean, they had a fantastic game there. So, can't wait to watch some Team USA in the World Baseball Classic. I mean, I can't wait to watch the whole thing because there is good games across the board, a lot of good rosters, a lot of good players. I can't wait to watch World Baseball Classic in general there. So, can't wait. So, Kyle, let's look to the NFL. We were like, what can we talk about today? And I wanted to know who Kyle thinks. Which NFL teams need fresh starts at the quarterback spot? So just looking across the league, Kyle, when I asked that question, who are the NFL teams when you think of them that could use fresh starts? That's quarterback spot, should I say?
Right, exactly. There's quite a few actually. So Dolphins are one. We know with Tua, the health concerns, obviously the coaching change. You feel like there's going to be a change there. I do think they need to reset the quarterback room. Whether it's Quinn Ewers or somebody else, they have to. The Jets, it's always been an issue with them drafting and developing top quarterback talent. They aren't seemingly able to get like top flight guys in free agency, but they coming off of the Justin Fields season, they need to reset their quarterback room. The Steelers, in a sense that they brought in Mike McCarthy almost to woo Aaron Rodgers back, but I think they are another franchise that's struggled finding that quarterback since Big Ben left. Like they could definitely use the services of a young quarterback to kind of grow into that role. The Browns, with all the quarterbacks that they're paying, it seemingly is coming down to like Shador versus Deshaun Watson. I think as an organization, they kind of just need to pull the plug on the Deshaun Watson stuff. If he lingers for one more year, deal with it, and then look post him as to who's going to be the guy, whether they're committed to Shador or not. The Raiders, who are telling us this by going basically to get Fernando Mendoza, number one, they're going to reset it from Geno Smith. Vikings, there's questions about J.J. McCarthy. I think it's a little overblown because you took him knowing he wasn't a finished product, and now there's questions as to whether or not he's the guy. He wasn't the guy coming out of Michigan. You took him, develop him. But I do think they're going to probably bring in a vet to probably push him a little bit. The Falcons have a guy in Penix who's hurt. And with history, I do think the Falcons have to seriously consider their quarterback room. The Rams have to look post Stafford. Stafford's not going to be around forever. And then the Cardinals. Cardinals have told us they're going to release Kyler Murray if they can't trade him. I can't see a team trading for him. So what is their quarterback plans going forward with their new head coach? That's a good section of the league, but I think those are all situations that really need a hard looking at and making some decisions.
There's a lot of need for fresh starts is what you're telling me right now. There's a lot of need for fresh start there at the quarterback spot. And, you listed off some teams that's like next season they're not looking necessarily for a new guy. Like you mentioned the Rams with Stafford. It's like Stafford's going to be here for next year, but you want to have that guy to give you that fresh start moving forward. And even a guy like Rodgers, if you're going to bring Rodgers back to Pittsburgh, get somebody, if that's Will Howard that you think is going to be the next guy, okay, then you have to commit to Will Howard. Like you said with the Browns, committing to Shedeur Sanders or finding the next guy. You have to commit if you're these teams. Like you look at the Vikings, it seems like they're half in, half out on JJ McCarthy. And then you find out it's like, oh, maybe Kevin O'Connell actually wanted to bring in Aaron Rodgers this whole time. It was just the GM that didn't want to bring in Aaron Rodgers. So then you're like, okay, were they ever really committed to JJ McCarthy or has he just kind of been there? So a lot of teams needing fresh starts there at the quarterback spot. Definitely some big ones for sure with the Tua and especially Arizona, the Jets, like lots of teams need fresh starts. So Kyle, thank you as always for stopping by the show here tonight. Let the people know where to find you out there across social media.
So if you go Podbean, Facebook, YouTube, chomping at the bit, easiest way to find me.
Make sure you guys check him out. He has fantastic stuff there across all the social media platforms. He's talking about stuff like this. He's getting into the NBA. He's getting over to college basketball, college football. Whatever's happening in the sporting world, Kyle's covering it at Chopping at the Bit. So make sure you guys check him out there. So when we come back from the break, Christian's going to stop by. We're going to talk some Badgers. Get you ready for that game coming up tonight here against Maryland. We'll be right back here on Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, as we're coming back in here on this Wednesday. And hey, this next segment, Christian stopping by. We're going to talk a little Badger hoops. This next segment is brought to you by Casa Spice. Are you craving bold gourmet flavor without those MSGs, fillers, or excess salt? Meet Casa Spice Company, the award-winning spice blend born in Texas. This stuff is fantastic. You can put it on anything. I put it on my ribs this last weekend. Wow. You will be known as the backyard master, the BBQ master, whatever you want to call it. You'll be known as that. It's not BBQ, though. It's Texas Spice. It is Texas Spice. Check them out there, Casa M Spice Company. So Christian is here tonight. Christian, how we doing on this Wednesday?
Good. We're good. We're getting by.
How's the sleep progression going? Are we doing good with that? Are we getting better?
Hit or miss, man. You know how that goes. Like it's I don't know. He has a good night, and then also he has like 2 bad nights. It's
It's the fun of it. It's the fun of it. Yeah. It's like personalities change. It's like kind of like that. It's like that. What is that movie? What is that movie? The Split, where he's got like 21 personalities. That's what you got. That's what you got to chalk it down. Like, kids just have a lot of personalities, and you just got to work through them all. Yeah. So, anyways, before we get to the Badgers, I have 2 things I want to hit. First, we have to hit our Casa M Spice Bold Player of the Week. So, Christian, who do you have for me? Who is your Casa M Spice Bold Player of the Week? Who gets that award this week?
Well, I'll give you the easy one. I'm going to go with Nick Boyd. He's, dude, I don't know where John Blackwell is. Like, I don't know. But thank God we have one guard who just shows up day in and day out. Yes, he didn't go off quite like Carrington did, but he's just consistent. He's reliable, right? So I got to look up. I can't even remember what his stats were, but he was pretty close to like
22, 9, and 5.
I knew he was pretty close to double-double, and I knew he was close to like leading the team in all 3. Well, not in points-wise, but what was it, the Oregon game? No, game before that. Didn't he like lead the team in points, rebounds, and assists? He just had a heck of a game, and he almost had a triple-double. Yeah, so it's that kind of thing. I'd say he's just consistent. So I just wanted to keep going with Nick Boyd here.
I do. I like that one. It's a toss-up. Brady gave me the easy one, as he said, and that's got to be Braden Carrington. Braden Carrington was absolutely fantastic against Washington. Set a program record with those 9 threes in that game there at 32 points. Braden Carrington has been the underrated star of this team. Fantastic. We talked about him coming into the year. We said this guy could be good. He could be something. He's going to be a 3-point shooter, and that's about it. He's turning into when you come off a game where he hit 9 threes, you're like, this guy's just a 3-point shooter. He's so much more than that. Yes, he hit 9 threes. Yes, he's very good from behind the arc, but this guy is very good in many facets. We're going to get into talking about him later on here in the segment, but I mean, he has been nothing but fantastic, and he shot the lights out of the building in this one. 32 points. He had an opportunity for 10. He already set the record. He had an opportunity for 10. 11. He was, right there. He was pulling up shots later in the game there that probably he wouldn't have. I shouldn't say wouldn't have taken regular, because he'll pull up from 35 like it's nothing. It just
checks, man.
The heat check that he had, that Blackwell came up the floor and just kind of flipped it to him, and he just turned and fired. I was like, yeah, he's feeling it. And the announcers, this was a blowout game that the announcers were having fun just because Braden Carrington couldn't miss. And that's why they were having fun with this game here. It was just the way the Badgers were shooting. So, all in all, the Badgers shot the ball well in this game, but Braden Carrington was definitely the star coming out of this one. So, one thing I want to hit before we get to the Badgers. Bruce Pearl made a comment, and I know some people don't see eye to eye with Bruce Pearl. I thought he was a good coach. Right now, as a media personality, I don't know so much about that, but he came out with this comment about Miami of Ohio. And Christian knows that I have this thing about Miami of Ohio where I just want them to lose. So he sends me a graphic every time they win and shows me that they move to 28-0, 29-0. He makes sure that I know about it. So Miami of Ohio is still undefeated. Bruce Pearl said that they should not be an at-large bid, just because of where they come from, the conference that they come from. They don't have a quad 1 win. If you go by quad games, that's the metrics that everybody goes off of now. They don't have that big win on their resume. They have some quad 2 wins. They have a lot of quad 3. They don't have that. They're undefeated in those, right? But they don't have that quad 1 win. So everybody's looking at them saying, do they deserve an at-large bid? And now we were talking about an at-large bid is just you're automatically in the tournament. That's what at-large means. It doesn't mean 6-1 in the seeding line. It means you just automatically make the tournament and whatever seed you get. Right now, Joe Lenardi has him as an 11 seed. So it's not like at-large means you're
potentially lining up with Wisconsin if they get a 6. So there you go.
Yeah, I don't want that.
But that's the thing. Wisconsin could easily be the ones to knock them off, and then that'd be
I would be okay with it, but there's so many people talking smoke.
It's 2 and stone for you.
Well, yeah, but so many people are talking on social media, and they're like, Wisconsin could beat them. And I'm like, don't say that. Just don't say that. Because they're going to be the one to get beat.
James Madison. What was that? Was that a 5-12 matchup we had that year?
5-12, yep.
It's oh, crap.
5
always get the worst draw.
It's always the team that everybody's like, this team could go and run on the tourney. And then they're like, oh, they play the Badgers. Great. They're great. There they are. There they are. We'll take them on. Don't worry, guys. So, yeah, I don't want that matchup. But, Christian, does Miami of Ohio deserve an at-large bid? Do they deserve one?
I think so. I'm at-large. I don't know. I think if they don't win the conference tournament, we'll have to see what happens. But I think their storyline is also kind of a little okay, we get it, they're undefeated. They haven't played anyone, but at the same time, it's partially their fault because they should. They're a MAC school, right? But they haven't even. Right. Don't you think normally other MAC schools would be scheduling? Wisconsin's played 2 MAC schools already. Why isn't Miami of Ohio scheduling any of those bigger conference opponents? Right? They haven't played anybody. So
no,
I don't know. I feel like if they lose, even any. I don't know. I think it depends. How many years do you see multiple MAC schools making it? Never. So if they lose and they don't win the conference tournament and they have a super weak schedule, or their net ratings, which is what the committee goes off of, and looks at their resume, they haven't necessarily beaten anyone worth anything. I don't know. I guess I'm kind of with Bruce Pearl. I'm talking myself into it a little bit here. I think if you want to make the NCAA tournament, you got to beat some decent competition. You can't just play your conference, your mid-major conference, and then just a bunch of other schools that aren't very good either.
Yeah. I've talked myself into both sides of it at this point. I've talked myself into both sides. You look back at March Madness snubs over the year, and St. Mary's from 2018, they were 28-5. They were at number 24 in the nation, and they were left out of the tournament. You look at 2023 with Rutgers. They were top 40 in the net rankings. They were left out of the tournament. Indiana State in 2024, they were left out of the tournament along with teams like St. John's and Providence coming out of that. And then West Virginia, Boise State, and Indiana were all left out in 2025s, and they all had late season surges to get there. So just a lot of, you look USC in 2018, they were 23-11, and they made it to the Pac-12 tournament final and were left out of the tournament. So there's been a lot of teams over the years been left out. I don't think Miami of Ohio will be left out because I don't think you can. They're undefeated. If they stay undefeated, there's no way.
Yeah, if they're undefeated and they win their conference, then they get an automatic bid, right? But if they stumble in this last week or, in the conference tournament, really, if they
have to lose in the first round of the conference tournament. Like, it couldn't be conference championship. Like, I think a conference, if they faced off against Buffalo more time, I feel like Buffalo is a decent team.
True, they are, and Daniel Freitag's having a huge season, but but that's the thing. Like I just said, how often do you see two MAC teams make it? And yes, I know they're ranked, but if they would have lost one game, that one they lost really close last week, they would have tumbled in the rankings. They wouldn't have even gotten a vote. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I get what Bruce Pearl's saying. Yes, I don't. If they go undefeated, obviously they deserve to be in the tournament. They're going to be in the tournament. They're going to win their conference tournament. They get an automatic bid. But if they lose and they have this record and they are not automatic bids, should they get in as an at-large school? Like, I don't know.
Bruce Pearl's just isn't saying what we've been all saying for years.
True, I'm going to say it's like the same vein as like college football.
Yeah,
like we all got like if you just schedule cupcake after cupcake in your non-conference, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're gonna have a good record, and if that's all that the committee cares about, then no one's gonna schedule those big out-of-conference games anymore.
Right?
So I don't know.
It's a tough I know the committee only does so much because they just punch it into a computer these days and just let it ride. But if you're the committee at this point, you're in a tough spot, right? Because if you let Miami of Ohio in, say they lose a couple games, you let them in. Well, now you're at the mercy of if another school does this, what do you do? And then I see what Bruce Pearl's saying because I've been saying it for years. Do you ever have the best 68 teams that make the field because you have your play-in games? Do you ever have the best ones? And that's why they're talking about expanding the tournament is to try to get your quote-unquote best teams because as a lot of these coaches and that like to argue, the bottom of the Big Ten is still good. They just, get beat up by the top half. The SEC, same thing. Like, it's that hard coin that you have there where both sides you can understand with what they're saying. You get your automatic bids, and then after that, who's going to make it in? I don't know. It depends if there's a team that's equal, right? Depends if there's a team out there who looks decent and they're on the bubble, and you're like, should they make it? Should they not? That's the only way they could be left off is if there's one of those.
So if you think about it this way too, so if you want the best 68 teams in, but yes, with the all automatic qualifiers, do you really think if Miami of Ohio doesn't win their conference, so they would have to be at large bids, are they better than Ohio State or USC or Iowa? And I think Iowa's pretty solidly in, but you know what I mean? Like Iowa's got a brutal last two games here.
Yep.
I think they got Michigan and they got Illinois. I think that's what it is. I was looking at it. Yeah. So they could easily drop a little bit. And then if they lose in the first or second round of the Big Ten tournament, are they on the bubble? Are you going to put Miami of Ohio in over them or Ohio State as at large bids? I think if you truly want the best tournament possible, you go for the bigger schools. You go for the power conferences, not the mid-majors. But I don't know. Everyone likes a Cinderella too.
That's the hard game that you're going to play is that if you do say, okay, Miami, Ohio, you win 20 or it'd be 31-1 or whatever it is. And we left you off because you didn't play a good schedule, right? And then it comes down to that. Well, then you're saying, okay, all these small schools, you have to schedule big schools because otherwise you're not going to make the tournament, which is understandable. You want them to have good games, good wins, play good teams. You can understand that from that side, but you can also understand from the other side where it's like, maybe you have a school that teams are just like, we don't want to play that team. We don't want to go play them because they might beat us, right? They might beat us. Now, that's a bad way to look at it from a good team perspective, or like not a good team, right? I want to say Miami Ohio's a good team. Like, they are a good team. I don't want to knock on them and say they're not a good team. They're a good team. They have a lot of good pieces there. But you don't want to say, well, if Alabama's like, I don't want to play them because, well, they might beat us, right? And then Miami of Ohio's like, okay, well, we tried, right? And you have seen coaches that have tried to reach out to schools to play them, and they just won't. So maybe Miami of Ohio was in that same boat. Maybe they tried to play teams, and they just said, nah, we don't got room for you. We don't got room for you on our schedule, so it's just not going to work out. I don't know, but at the same time, you can only work with what your schedule has. So we'll see. We'll just kind of see what happens with Miami of Ohio there. But Christian, let's jump over to the Badgers. Badgers got a big win, a much-needed win. We went into that one, and the only thing we said in our preview of that game was they need this game. That's all we said. That's all you had to say about that game was they needed to come in. They needed to show that they were the better team, that they owned it, that they were needed, like that they needed this game. That's what they needed to show, that they needed this game more than Washington. They did that. Like, if you put this game next to the Oregon game and said, what was your perspective coming out of this one? I would have said in the Oregon game, they looked like they were, we're here. This might be happening. Washington, it looked like we need this game. We need to win this game. We're going to put our foot down, gas pedal, and let it ride. They did that in this one. They held Washington to 21 points in the first half. They controlled it from there on out, 36-21 in that first half there. And then from then on, it was just a butt kicking of, how it goes for this Badger team here. They shot 46% for the field. Washington did shoot 46% from the field in this one too, but the difference was 17 threes in this one for the Badgers versus 4 for Washington. So definitely did a good job there out on the 3-point arc. But all in all, Christian, I mean, just coming off this game, what'd you like? What did you like coming off this game from what you saw?
It's just, I mean, obviously I liked their shooting. I liked the offense. The ball moved. They lit it up, especially Braden Carrington. Is just, I mean, what's there not to? I mean, I think their defense still could have given up 52 points in the second half, and I know some of that was in garbage time, but still not crazy about that. But I mean, just the offense and especially bench scoring. It's super nice to have Braden Carrington come be between him and Rapp. Like when they're making subs, I'm not especially worried about it. And we talked about this earlier this year too. And would you put Rapp back in? I mean, I think it's perfect the way it is. I think it was kind of a blessing in disguise that Rapp struggled early to put Bieliauskas in there to be the starter, and then I think it like offensively pairs nicely, right? Like if Rapp was on the floor with those starters and stuff, like that kind of just diminishes his role offensively a little bit. But if he's in with the second unit or even just like the first half of the first unit, like instead of Bieliauskas, and maybe you take out Nolan Winter too, and so then you have like, I don't know, Nick Boyd, and you have Austin Rapp. Like those are your top 2 options, and then maybe Carrington's in there too. Like those 3 are still solid, and 2 of the 3 are bench players. So I really I think guards kind of like he's really dialed in on the rotations, and I think they're kind of that's the thing. It's easy to say. I think they're kind of hitting their stride at the right time again, but they struggled at Oregon. But hopefully we won't have any more West Coast games that we need to worry about. Chicago's nice and close to Madison for the Big Ten tournament, so I'm not super worried about the travel anymore because they just have to go to Purdue and that's it. So I think I really like their offense. I'm hoping that obviously that just keeps happening. I kind of talked about after the Oregon game. What did they shoot? 45 threes?
45. Yep. Program record.
45, a program record. I'm like, okay, maybe we need to dial it back on the threes a little bit where they throw up 38 against Washington. So they're not slowing down. So, I mean, I ate my words, I guess. I'd like to see a little more, a little less threes. And I guess I did see some fewer threes, but overall, the offense looked awesome, especially Braden Carrington. And like we talked about the bold players of the game, Nick Boyd is just super steady and consistent. He always shows up, even if he has kind of a down first half. Like he's gonna then he's gonna come. He's gonna show up the second half. So I guess that's what I really liked about it.
Yeah, 19 threes in the first half, 19 in the second half, because I was just pulling up their first half stats. They were 6 for 19 in the first half there. So they had a 3-point explosion in the second half there because they had 17 on the game. So they hit 11 of them in that second half. And Braden Carrington definitely led that charge with that
one. How many were Carrington?
Right. Yeah, exactly. I was just thinking, when you're talking about Bieliauskas and keep him in that starting role, I don't, my problem with Bieliauskas, and it was a problem that I had with Stephen Crowell, is that they hesitate too much to shoot. And I know Bieliauskas, sometimes it's like really far off or really on right. He's got a shot that it's hit or miss, right? But when Bielauskas is out there and he's not a threat at all, and he's just looking to pass the basketball, he's not even looking at the rim, he's not even looking to attack, he's not looking to shoot, I have a problem with that. That's where when he's out at the three-point line, I have a problem, because Austin Rapp, he's always looking to shoot. He'll look to pull it whenever. It doesn't matter if he's missed 3 in a row, he's going to pull the fourth. Bielauskas, he gets in this mode where he doesn't even look. And if he's going to be that way, I want him to stay in the post area. I don't want him on the outside because he's not doing any good for me on the outside there. Try to work the post, then try to battle down there and get position and maybe get a ball down there. That's where I guess my biggest problem comes with Bielauskas. In a game like this, he had 2 threes. He was decent. Did his job. Nothing crazy about his gameplay in this one, but did his job, and that's all you need from him. But I just want to see less hesitation, I guess, from Bielauskas is the big thing. I know he's young. I know he's growing into it. I know it's hard when you have guys like Nick Boyd and Carrington's having a game of his life, and you have Blackwell on the team and Nolan Winter. There's only so many basketballs to go around. But also you want to have guys like Bielauskas and even a guy like Andrew Rody still be that threat on the offensive end of the floor, that they're still looking to shoot and looking to get theirs, even if they're maybe off, whatever. At least you're looking, so you're a threat out there. Otherwise, guys are just going to back up. They're not going to play defense on you. They're going to be able to double guys easier. It's just going to lead to more problems for guys like Nick Boyd, whoever, maybe off a ball screen and stuff like that. So that's where I guess I'm looking with Bielauskas. But I mean, you're 100% correct in this one here. The Badgers just offensively, the ball was moving and looked good. It was the Badgers of, well, they just lost the game, so now they're going to start playing well again, right? You look at the Ohio State game, they didn't look great, came out against Iowa, looked great, looked bad against Oregon, came out against Washington, looked good. So hopefully this isn't a trend moving forward, because in March you don't get a second chance. So hopefully they start rolling off some wins here moving forward. But just all in all, a great game for the Badgers in this one here. Shot 100% from the free throw line. They only shot 5 free throws in this game.
That's
5 free throws. 5 for 5. Yeah, 5 for 5. That's the stat I got up here. 5 for 5 from the free throw line. Washington was 11 for 16. So definitely not much going on from the charity stripe in this one here. But all in all, I mean, the Badgers look great in this game against Washington. The bounce back win that they needed. This was a game they should have had. Washington's been banged up. We're going to talk about the Maryland game coming up. They're also banged up. One of their leading players has been out since, I believe, December there. So definitely been playing some banged up teams as of late. I mean, Shellstead was missing for Oregon there. And then you had, I can't remember the guard.
Washington only, I think, what did they say? Washington only had like 7 scholarship players.
Right. So Washington's been banged up. I mean, they'd be a good team if they had their full team out there, right? So, I mean, even Oregon with Shellstead would look a lot better. So definitely dodge some bullets there. And now you have Maryland coming up next year. So when we come back from the break, we're going to look ahead to Maryland. We're going to talk about that game coming up tonight here after the show. We're going to talk about that game. We have a bunch more to get into. We'll be right back here on Wisconsin Sports on the Go. Welcome back into Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, as we're coming back in here on this Wednesday. And hey, this next segment of the show here is brought to you by Badger Tree Care. Do you got a tree that's become a problem? Call Trevor Barth at Badger Tree Care, your trusted insured tree service professional serving Clark and surrounding counties. He does fantastic work. Maybe it's now getting nice outside, right? Nicer weather. You're getting in the backyard, and you just found out that a tree fell down because you weren't looking, because it was snow covered. You didn't know what was going on back there. Well, now you got this ugly tree laying in your backyard. Call Trevor Barth. He'll come over. He'll take care of that for you. Call him up there, Trevor Barth with Badger Tree Care. So Christian is sticking around. We're going to talk about, well, he's got an article that came out, so we're going to get to that first, and then we're going to look ahead to the Maryland game. So Christian, the math behind Wisconsin's Big Ten tournament destiny. And if you guys haven't checked this out, we're going to talk about kind of what was in there, but he broke it all down, talked about it all in there. So make sure you check it out. Search thebadgerbacker.com. You can find it there. Click into it. Subscribe to it. It's free. Free, people. Just remember that. It's free. So, Christian, what is the math behind Wisconsin's Big Ten tournament destiny?
Well, I don't know. I wanted something out there. So, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird like this, but I've always wanted to know, like, what are all the scenarios that can play out, especially like the last week, you know, especially now, like the standings are absolutely just like a log jam. The Badgers could, depending on how these last 2 games go, the Badgers could get anywhere from the 3 seed or drop all the way down to the 7 seed. So just based on these 2 games, there's a big wide range. That's kind of wanted to break it down for people who are interested in it. So I don't know, do you want me to go like down into detail in this, or what are you thinking?
If you want to break it down, we can. We don't even have to break down the article. We can just talk about it. We can just talk about where we want to talk about it, right?
Yeah,
because we were kind of discussing it.
It's gonna get too nitty gritty if we do that. No, I can talk forever. So
exactly.
You know that.
We'll just quick hit it. So we kind of, you and me were texting back and forth, and I said that if Michigan State, I believe Michigan State has to play Michigan yet on the schedule.
They play last, and then they have someone else.
Somebody else was good right before that, and I'm blanking on who it was. Was it Illinois? No, they just played Illinois.
No, I don't think it was anyone too difficult. I think Michigan was their.
Oh, it must have been the Ohio State game. It must have been just Ohio State. I said that they needed Ohio State to win, and then Michigan they had later on the schedule. That would drop them 2 losses. Would have came down to the Badgers, then the Badgers could have jumped them. And you came back and you said, well, do you really want to get into that top 4? Do you really want to be a top 4 seed? What does that do for you? So I guess, Christian, I mean, just hearing that from you, what are your thoughts on where – I mean, you want to see the Badgers get a top 4 seed, or do you think it really matters at this point where the Badgers end up?
I think if they can, you want to be at 3. Because then, in my head, I want to avoid Illinois and I want to avoid – well, I don't know. I'd like to avoid Michigan State too, but I really want to avoid Michigan. The Badgers obviously already beat them once. How hard is that going to be to beat them again, right? Yeah. The team in the top 4 I'm like not quite as scared of is Nebraska. I mean, maybe that's just me. But I just feel like, yeah, they were hot for a really long time, but they've kind of been stumbling a little bit. But then again, Michigan, they just lost one of their – he had 8 points a game. One of their players tore his ACL, so he's out. So maybe Michigan isn't quite as daunting as, we remember. But so I just figured if you can get 3, so then in the semifinals, you're going to play the 2 seed rather than the 1 if you were the 4 seed, right?
Right.
I think I'd rather get 3, but that would involve Illinois losing at least 1, Michigan State losing 2, and the Badgers winning out. Because then if they went out, because technically we're tied with Purdue right now for 5th, but Purdue has the tiebreaker over us. But if we beat them on Saturday, we would split the season series. But so if you like the head-to-head is tied, this is what I love, and it benefits the Badgers so much. This is like, I call it like their golden tiebreaker, where it benefits them. After you go head-to-head, if it's a tie, it goes the second tiebreaker is who has the best record against the number 1 team in the conference, and Wisconsin is the only team that's beaten Michigan. So we have the tiebreaker over Illinois because we're 1-0 against them. We are 1-0 against Michigan State. If we split with Purdue has not beaten Michigan, and either is UCLA if they come into this too, because we're 1 game ahead of them. So if they went out and we split, we'll technically be tied with them, but we also have the tiebreaker over them. But so we own the tiebreakers over everybody, assuming we beat Purdue, except Nebraska. That's the only team we do not have a tiebreaker over. So I was kind of just going through and looking at like the what if, if we go. So I did, just a scenario. If the Badgers go 2-0, they could be the 3 seed. They could jump up to. If they go 2, they could go to 5, as low as 5. They could be anywhere from 3 to 5. So depending on what happens with Illinois and Michigan State. So, and I don't know if I want 5 either, but so I think, but if they lose out, obviously that would suck. Losing to Michigan or losing to Maryland would be a huge hit on the resume. But also if they drop down to 7, that would be who would we play the winner of? It would be the 10-15 game. Which right now, as it sits, is Indiana and Nebraska. I wouldn't mind another shot at Indiana after that controversial ending, or no, Indiana Northwestern. So then, and then assuming they beat that, then they would move on to the number 2 seed. I think if I looked at the bracket correctly. So then again, that would be Nebraska. So I think really, I'm just boiling it down to I wouldn't mind playing Nebraska again when it comes down. Until we can get to the championship and then play either Illinois, Michigan State, or Michigan.
Regardless, the way that I look at it, and this is kind of when you told me, was it really matter where they get ranked? Or where they get seeded? When I heard that and I thought about it, I said to myself, no. Because the problem is they beat Michigan, they beat Michigan State, they beat Illinois, they beat they hypothetically could beat Purdue yet. So at the end of the day, they beat these good teams, and it's hard to beat them again, right? Outside of Nebraska, it's hard to beat a team twice. And especially when there's experiences, Brad Underwood, Tom Izzo, I'm not a huge Dusty May fan, but Dusty May in Michigan, that's a really good team. So you're going to have to face them again. It's hard to beat them twice. I mean, only Duke and Wisconsin have done it this season so far here, and that took a really good effort from Duke. So, I mean, it's going to be a gauntlet either way. So it doesn't really, I know there's a lot of people out there who are like, the Badgers need these last 2 games because they need to get in that top 4. I don't know if they need to get in the top 4 just because, I mean, I want them to win the last 2 games. That'd be really nice.
Oh, yeah. I think they need to beat Maryland.
Yes.
Strictly for the NCAA seeding. I don't think a loss to Purdue is really going to hurt them at all.
I'm assuming it's senior day for Purdue. I would assume.
Yep. Tonight's senior, or not Purdue. Oh, for Purdue. Yep. But
for Purdue
tonight against Maryland. So yeah.
So I mean, you're going to have Braden Smith, Trey Kaufman-Renn, and Fletcher Lawyer all celebrating senior day. So that's going to be a tough environment and a really tough game to win. So if they do win that game, awesome. Yeah, I mean, if they win at Mackey, awesome. Like I'd take it at the end of the day. But I mean, it's gonna be a really tough, hostile road environment to go into. So if they lose that game, it's not the end of the world. If they drop out of the top 4, it's not the end of the world. They can still run the gauntlet in the Big Ten tournament and make it there. And it starts tonight here, Christian, against this Maryland team. Maryland coming into this one, not having the best of seasons so far right now. But I thought Greg Gard said it right when he said it doesn't matter what Buzz Williams has got going on here. He's always going to have a team that's going to bring it. Yep. And that is what the Badgers need to come into this game thinking, is that Buzz Williams is going to have a team in Maryland that's going to bring it in this game here. They're 11-18. I see the record. I know the record. But guess what? Oregon was pretty bad when the Badgers played them too. And guess what happened out there? So you have your senior day if you're the Badgers. You need to come into this one. You need to set the tone early. You need to make it happen. And I'm looking at, this is my big hitter for this game, Christian, is when, if you just look at the outside, looking at Maryland, you're going to see the leading scorers, and you're going to say to yourself, okay, their leading scorer for the year is Pharrell Payne, but he's out for the season, I'm pretty sure, because he's been out since December. So he's only played 10 games this year. So. Then it goes to David Colt, right? But Andre Mills has been fantastic for this team as of late. The guard there, the freshman, he has been nothing but fantastic against Northwestern. He had 39 points against Washington. He had 21. He had 19 against Nebraska. He had 15 against Rutgers. He has paced this team along the way, and that's where the Badgers need to start tonight. It starts with Blackwell. It starts with Rhodey. It starts with Carrington off the bench there, getting on whoever. I don't know who's going to end up guarding him, right? That's why I'm listing off 3 different guys who could potentially be there. Maybe it ends up being Nick Boyd at times too, right? He's only a 6'4" guard, so maybe Nick Boyd might get switched out. I'm pretty sure Colt is I believe he's like 5'11", so I just figured Nick Boyd would end up with that matchup. And then I figured Blackwell would probably end up with this matchup here against Andre Mills. But this is the guy to watch out for. As of late here, he's been hot. This is a team that's been struggling. He's been pacing them. This is the guy I'm watching. So defensively for the Badgers, it starts with those 3 guys getting after him in this one here, because he has been fantastic from the 3-point arc. He was 66% against Northwestern there. He shot 50% against Washington, 33% against Nebraska, and Rutgers 30% there. So this guy who can shoot from the outside, he can also get downhill, and he can make you pay in the paint there. So I'm looking at those 3 guys to slow down Andre Mills, because if you can slow him down, the rest is, they have a decent team. A lot of people look at records and they're like, this is a terrible team. The Badgers should be able to stop them, right? And I believe that they should be able to control this game. But when you let a team who is playing for nothing have a little bit of light, just give them a little bit of light, they're going to take advantage of that, just like Oregon did. So in a game like this, the Badgers have to slow down one of the better guards as of late here in the Big Ten, and that is Andre Mills. So, Christian, I mean, when you look at this game right now, what are you kind of looking at? What are you looking at here, Badgers, Maryland?
I think that's it. The Badgers have had, it goes back to the Oregon game. The Badgers have had this bad habit, it feels like we've talked about, playing with their food, right? They should win this game. They should be heavy favorites to win this game. They're at home. It's senior night. It's not like they don't have anything to play for. So, but that's the thing. Maryland really doesn't have anything to play for. So which team's going to show up? I wrote something like after the Oregon game, the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Like, what is it? Dr. Jekyll going to show up, or is it going to be Mr. Hyde? Is it going to be the team that's hot and plays with intensity and moves the ball? Or is it going to be the team that just kind of comes out thinking that it's going to be a walk in the park and they can just kind of, they'll just coast their way to a win or are they already looking ahead to Purdue? Is this a trap game, right? So,
yep.
That's really what I want to know, is Who's going to bring the intensity? We know well. Yeah, show up tonight. Austin rap game. Nolan Winters is going to say, you know what? I've been doing a whole lot lately. Maybe I'll drop. I'm very curious to see which team's going to show up and how they come out as a team. Are they going to be flat or are they going to come out on fire?
Right. No, I completely agree. And it's taking care of the basketball, right? In that sense, it's taking care of the basketball if you're Wisconsin, because you are the better team, right? So taking care of the basketball, taking care of your own. Don't let the mistakes are going to kill you in a game like this. You will, like I said before, you allow them that little bit of light, and they're going to take advantage of that. So those costly turnovers, those roadie passes where you're like, oh man, why'd you force that? It didn't have to happen. Make the easy pass, do the little things right in this game, and you should be able to roll it. That's where you kind of start with this team, is doing the easy things first, right? Taking advantage of what they give you, and then after that, making things happen. And working the shot clock. Don't rush shots. Don't get crazy with it in a game like this. Get inside. Do those little things. Control the painted area. If you got Nolan Winter in there, you got Bielowskis, work it down low. Try some things in this game here, right? We've talked about all season. They live and die by the three. That's who they are. They live and die by the three. That's who they are. They're not going to change now. It's too late in the season to change it up. But I feel like you can make tweaks, and I feel like you can work with that a little bit, and you can maybe work it into the middle a little bit, work on setting some things up and trying to get cutters, trying to get drivers, because they do that well. They do cut the lane well, and they find those open guys, and that's some things that we've seen along the way. So tweaking that in a game like this before you head off to Mackey and play Purdue, before you get in that Big Ten tournament, those are little things in a game like this where you want to see the Badgers take advantage of against this team like Maryland. So just talking about some of the players heading into this game, we talked about Braden Carrington a little bit earlier, and I had him on as my Casa M Spice Bowl player of the week because he was absolutely fantastic against Washington. But what a lot of people, and I said it, don't realize about Braden Carrington's game is that it's not just a three-point guy. He's not just a three-point guy. Yes, that's where he makes his highlight reel, and yes, that's where he's been very good for the Badgers off the bench. But Carrington is really good at setting guys up. He's really good at getting downhill and getting his own at the rim there too. And Carrington also at the defensive end of the floor, one of your more consistent defenders coming off the bench. Definitely one of your more consistent defenders. He's able to switch, I would say 1 through 3. I would say 1 through 3 on the court there. I don't know if he's matched up with many other teams' fours at this point here. The Badgers usually are rolling with the 2 big lineup, so he doesn't really have to work into that. And if anything, that's going to be Rhodey's job, is to switch onto a 4. So you're not going to see Carrington working there. But he can switch 1 through 3. He's really good at that. He's tough-nosed, and he can get after some rebounds too. I mean, and just hearing the story of Carrington where he had to take that mental break from the game, right, where it just broke him. He was broke from playing basketball, and well, Minnesota will do that to you, but he was broken down while playing basketball there. And how he's just kind of found happiness again, right? Was it Nick Olson that wrote that story? Was it Nick Olson that wrote? I don't want to.
No, it was. I think it was McCleary.
Was it McCleary that wrote that? There was somebody.
I think it was.
I think it was McCleary too. I think it was too. Now that we say it, but they wrote an article about it.
It was him or I think it was him or Polzine. One of those two.
Okay. Well, one of those two is getting credit for this. We just shouted out 3 guys there, so go check out all their stuff. They're fantastic Badger reporters there. But one of them wrote a story out there about Carrington and just finding happiness once again in Wisconsin. And you are seeing it when he plays. You can just see it when he plays. He radiates off guys. It's like Nick Boyd when he starts, playing well and he gets everybody into it. It's the same way with Carrington. Carrington's got that. He's got that infectious energy that once he starts hitting shots, everybody starts to get into that mode and everybody starts to feel it. And you just love that. So, Christian, you kind of seen that same thing from Carrington here. He's not just a 3-point shooter. He does so many little things for this Badger team that everybody overlooks.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's why he fits into this team and he does exactly what Gard is looking for. We've talked before about how Greg Gard is. Granted, it's almost by necessity. He's pretty picky about what players he brings in because he doesn't have the most money in the world in his budget to go out and just buy players. I think he broke the bank to go get Boyd. And obviously that's paid off really well. They broke the bank to keep Blackwell and Winter home. So, that only leaves so much money left. And I think you got to be pretty selective on who you bring in that fits the culture. And I think that's what Carrington is. It also helped he wanted to come to Wisconsin because he hated Minnesota. So that's super helpful. But I think he does everything that Wisconsin is looking for well. right now. I mean, he takes care of the ball relatively well. He obviously can shoot. He's an underrated. I don't even say he's an underrated defender. I think you don't think about his defense so much anymore because he's been such an offensive threat. But going into the season, that's what I was kind of like told, and what I've heard was like he's a pretty solid defender. He's going to be a 3-and-D guy, and that's exactly what he is. So, I mean, he's been as advertised or better for the Badgers this year.
Yeah, no, I love when Guard said that we brought in Rhodey and we thought he was going to be an offensive first guy and defense second, and then we brought in Carrington and we thought he was going to be defense first and offense second, and it turns out they're the opposite, but it's worked out, right? And that's I mean, you said it exactly right. Is when you think about Carrington, you don't think about his defense. When you think about Rhodey, you don't think about his offense. But both guys have the ability to do the opposite and do it well. Christian just had to show me that Miami of Ohio is 30-0. He had to make sure that I saw the graphic there across the camera feed. I know we're on the radio, but he made sure I could see it across the camera feed there. So, Christian, as we wrap it up here, quick hitters for tonight's game. What do you want to see? Who's got to show up for you for the Badgers? Who's got to be that guy?
Blackwell. He needs to get back into a rhythm. If we don't have Blackwell going into the conference tournament, where the Badgers are not going to go anywhere. Nick Boyd's awesome, but what makes them so good is that it can be Boyd or Blackwell that can go off on any given night. And lately, it's had to be Boyd and then either Rapp or Carrington because Blackwell's been almost non-existent. I know he was the leading scorer against Oregon, but I mean, it was pretty futile at that point. So I think I want to see Blackwell come out. I want to see him take the game over, and I want to see the Badgers just roll over Maryland like they should.
You need one of those games heading into Purdue. Mm-hmm. You need one of those games, just a feel-good game to just set it up. Just set up that matchup with Purdue. I want to see a guy in Nolan Winter have himself a big game. That's where I'm kind of looking. He's been having, I mean, his last 5, 10 against Michigan State, 10 against Ohio State, 18 against Iowa, 7 against Oregon, where he got banged up a little bit, and then those 13 points against Washington. I want to see him keeping that double-double range there. He's been fantastic this season. I want to see the bigs control the inside. That's where I'm looking. I want to see the bigs control the inside in this game and just become that dominant force that I think, not a dominant force, right? But become a presence on the inside, right? You're going to need an interior presence when you head into the conference tournament, when you head into the big dance. You're going to need inside presence. That's where I'm looking at Nolan Winter in this game to be that tone setter for the Badgers. So big game coming up tonight here. Badgers, Maryland from the Kohl Center, 7 o'clock start right as we wrap up here. That'll be starting here on 92.3. So Christian, thank you as always for stopping by the show here tonight. Let the people know where to find you out there across social media.
Yeah, as always, you can follow me at Christian Borman on Twitter, but then also check out all my work at the Badger Backer.
Make sure you guys check him out. He's going to break down this game for you. He's going to have that preview for you guys. As you guys are hearing the preview here, he's got a preview over there too. So if you want to read that quick. Otherwise, he'll have the recap over there. So make sure you check it out, thebadgerbacker.com. So when we come back from the break, we're going to wrap it up. We're going to get over to the Badger game. I'm going to be watching, of course. We'll be right back here on Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage. So we're wrapping it up here on this Wednesday. And this last little portion of the show here is brought to you by Sport and Spine Clinic of Greenwood, Wisconsin. Expert traditional physical therapy and structural integration programming. Call for flexible scheduling and evaluations. Just call Chad down there at Sport and Spine Clinic of Greenwood. He'll get you right doing whatever you were doing, feeling better than ever. So we talked about a lot today on the show. Got to the Packers, got a little Bucks in there, Brewers, Badgers, of course. We got to it all here today. If you missed any portion of the show here, listen next day across all the podcast platforms out there. I'll have it uploaded for you guys. Take a listen over there. Like, subscribe, follow across all the social media platforms if you can. So next up here, on 92.3, you got the Badger game coming up here. That's why I had to play jump around going into this because I'm excited. Badgers coming up tonight against Maryland. It doesn't even matter who they're playing. I always get hyped to watch the Badgers take on anybody. So Badgers coming up next, taking out Maryland. Quick hitters. Badgers defensively got to lock in a game like this. You got to look at Mills in this one here. Andre Mills for Maryland. Been really good as of late here for him, as I hit in that last segment. He's been really good as of late, so it's going to be on the Badgers to slow him down in a game like this. Control the little things in this one. Points in the paint, rebounding, and also turnovers. Don't beat yourself in a game like this. Take care of business, win this one going away, and then look ahead to Mackey coming up on Saturday. Don't look ahead, right? I don't want to say look ahead. Don't look ahead. Focus on this game, beat Maryland, and then take on Purdue coming up on Saturday. So with that, that's about all we have for today. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Wednesday and the rest of your week. But until we talk again on Saturday, see ya.